The biggest problem for the world today is not poverty, but the biggest problem for the world today is a depression, anxiety, restlessness, or lack of peace in the heart. There are millions of people who make suicide every year, and most of them are in the rich countries, and most of them are rich people. So money is not solving the problem for the humanity, and the poverty is not the real problem. The real problem is a problem for the heart. And the problem for the heart is because of the depression, anxiety, restlessness, lack of peace in the heart, no peace of mind, no peace of heart. Then only the way that you can achieve that peace in the heart, which we call in Arabic sukoon, calmness, tranquility, peace in the heart. The only way you can achieve is with remembrance of Allah. And those things which is related to remembrance of Allah, like praying, fasting, performing Hajj, also the families. The families, when we have the families in the name of Allah, according to the way of Islam, then these families are also can provide us the sukoon, the peace in the hearts. The fathers, the mother, children with the parents, and the husband and wives. These are the beautiful relations which Allah created, and these relations can give us also sukoon. If these relations is according to the command of Allah and according to the way of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But the best thing to receive the calmness, the sukoon, the peace in the heart is the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said in the Quran, "Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innal qulub." No doubt, surely the hearts can achieve the sukoon with the remembrance of Allah. It doesn't say that only the remembrance of Allah, no. But the best, because Allah makes lots of other things which can give us sukoon, like the families, the parents, the wife, the children, brothers, sisters, relatives, friends. These things also can give us sukoon or the peace by the will of Allah. Providing that these relations are based upon Islam. Providing that these relations are based upon the commands of Allah and the way of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And these all relations can give us also sukoon, tranquility, the calmness in the hearts. There are lots of rich people in the world. They have everything in the life. The money, the wealth, houses and cars, families, everything they have. But they have no peace. Even though they are living in a very secured house or palace, and even though they have maybe more than 20 security guards to protect them, but one night, that rich person, he killed himself. Nobody entered his house to kill him. But his hearts killed him. Because he has heart, which was a dead heart. And all the dead heart are those hearts which has no remembrance of Allah. If you keep on pumping heart physically without remembering Allah, then your heart is deteriorating. Your heart is going towards destruction. Every moment of heart, every moment of your life, your heart is beating, but not remembering Allah, who is let this heart to beat. And one day this heart is going to go downfall, going to weaker and weaker and weaker spiritually, and one day your dad will be spiritually dead. And when it's happened, you don't like to live anymore. Your money, your wealth, your families, your resources, your palaces, your cars will not give you happiness anymore. You feel empty. You feel useless yourself. You feel you are nothing anymore because your heart is now becoming a dead heart. The Prophet Muhammad explained, and also in the Quran, the heart which remembers Allah, it is a alive heart. Buhay. Yung puso na may remembrance of Allah, yan yung puso na yon ng may buhay. And the heart which doesn't remember Allah, it's explained by the Prophet, that heart is a dead heart. So remembrance of Allah makes a person heart alive. And then neglecting the remembrance of Allah makes the heart of the person dead. Many years ago, this is very small masjid, a student came from the University of the Philippines and they want to listen about Islam. And I asked the same question to them several years ago, maybe more than 10 years ago. And I asked them, what is the biggest problem for the humanity today? And most of the people, most of the time when I ask people, most of the people always say the biggest problem for the humanity is the poverty. And I always deny, no. It is not the poverty is the biggest problem for the world today, but it is the depression is the biggest problem for the world today. Millions of people are making suicide in the world. And those millions of people, most of them, they are not poor people. They are rich people, and they belongs to a rich countries. One of the country which is a very high rates of suicide in the world today is Japan. And Japan is one of the richest country. And people are jumping from the building. They cut their wrists, they shoot themselves, they take poison, and they kill themselves. America, Europe, they have a very high number of suicide. In America, most of the people, they make suicide. It is not count as suicide. Why? Because it is through drugs. Overdose of drugs. They take lots of drugs to kill themselves. Like very well-known singer Elvis Presley, he took the drugs, overdrugs, and then he killed himself. And the drugs are two kinds. One kind of drugs is an illegal drug, and another kind of the drug is a legal drugs which people can buy from the pharmacies with a prescription. And they take this one to get peace in the heart. So they keep on taking medicine. The medicine is not giving a peace to them. Medicine is paralyzing their mind. Medicines are paralyzing their mind, so they won't think anymore. And they feel unconscious. But then when they wake up in the morning, they have same feeling of emptiness, depression, anxiety. Today in America, in China, the very powerful drug is using to relieve the depression, and that's ketamine. It's a regulated drug. It is really a drug, but it is with license. Doctors can prescribe. Without doctors, you cannot get that injected. It is a powerful anesthesia. They inject to the person, he fell down. He fell down unconscious. He has no more thinking anymore. His mind is paralyzed, his heart is paralyzed, he fall down, he don't know anything anymore. He's like a dead person now. Until the time the effect of the ketamine will remove, then he start to have the same feelings of depression. So when I ask people what is the biggest problem for the human being, the most of the people they answer the poverty. If you are poor, that's the biggest problem. And I say no. If the poverty is the biggest problem, then most of the people make suicide, they should be the poor. But it is not the case. The most of the people make suicide are the rich people. And they are belongs to the rich countries. Even how much you are poor, maybe you don't have enough food for your family. You don't have enough good place to leave your family. You don't have enough clothes, new clothes or very old clothes you have. Regardless of this condition of poverty, you can sleep at night. You can be happy even you don't have enough food, lack of food, but you are happy. Then you are not depression. You don't have any depression because even though you are poor, not enough food, no enough clothes, not good place to live, but you are still happy. Many of the poor people, they don't get depression because they are busy with their struggling to get rid of their poverty. So they are busy, they're working whole day. when they come home, they are tired. They eat and they sleep. But the rich people, they have no worry about their financial problems. They have lots of money. They are free. Their mind is free. And when the mind free, you think a lot and you fall in depression. Some rich people, they have nothing to do. They go and they make running, doing the gym or exercise or busy themselves. Many people in the West, in Philippines and around the world, the non-Muslims, when they are 6 o'clock p.m., highly depression, what they do? They take drugs, they take alcohol, they go to fornication, they go to nightclubs. Nothing can solve. Nothing can solve the problem of depression. Allah said in the Quran, "Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub." Surely, no doubt, the remembrance of Allah can give the peace, the tranquility to the hearts. So, poverty is not the biggest problem in the world today. The biggest problem for the world today is the depression. Any of you here, be aware of this. It is a dangerous symptom. It's a very big problem if you fall in the depression and very hard to get out from there. Once you are under depression, you might start bad habits. So be yourself to remember Allah. Not just 5 times a prayer. After Fajr, remember Allah. Whole day, remember Allah. Allah said in the Quran, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ سُبْحَانَكَ فَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Allah said those who are remembering Allah is standing, sitting down, and lying down on their sides. Mag-alala ng Allah kahit upo ka, kahit tayo ka, kahit upo, kahit higa. Lagi kang nang alala ng Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have a peace of heart. You will not fall in depression. You will not have anxiety. If you are not going to get this peace through the remembrance of Allah, then you can do what you like in the world. And I said earlier, remembrance of Allah, praying 5 times a day, doing fasting, and also the families. The family is a blessing of Allah. The parents, wives, children, brothers, sisters, uncle, aunt, relatives, and friends. If you have a relation based on the Islam, according to the command of Allah in the way of the Prophet, then these, our families, can give us also peace. Can give us also tranquility and sukoon in the hearts. But the best is remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the best remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Afdalu dhikru la ilaha illallah." The best of the remembrance of Allah is La ilaha illallah. If you can do it in a day, when you wake up until night, you can remember La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. No need to talk something nonsense. Rather than you make gossiping or backbiting and doing some bad words and just wasting the time, try to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whole your day. Saying La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. While you're driving, say La ilaha illallah. Read Surah Fatiha, read Surah Ikhlas, read Ayatul Kursi, Kul A'udhu Rabbil Falaq, Kul A'udhu Rabbin Nas, Surah Yasin. You are going for a long drive. On the way, you remember Allah. When you're going back home, you remember Allah. You're working in a factory. While you're working, remember Allah. Don't waste your time. Because it is for next life. Whatever you do good, it will go to you in your next life. And that will be your benefit in the next life. All that do good for the sake of Allah, and we need the reward for that in the next life. This life is temporary. It will finish. Even in hardship or even in easiness, it's going to finish. But the next life, sa kabilang buhay, walang hanggang. The next life is forever. Even for millions of years, our next life will not finish. So we're not going to waste our time, rather to utilize our time to make preparation for our next life. May Allah guide us. Ameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment.